did grow up in Pleasant Ridge, which is right next to Ferndale. I was having like a lot of thoughts of just living in the Detroit area during the recession. You know, it was pretty hard on me. It was hard on my family. It was hard on my friends. And I think everyone had at the time this sense of aimlessness of this thing that, especially when I started it in 2012, it didn't seem like it was going to end. You know, it had already been 4 years at that point, and it was still getting worse.
So, what was different about the Detroit experience of the crash of 2008, or was it just more of the same?
I did my undergrad in Boston, and almost all of my friends moved to New York or moved to Los Angeles after graduation. And it was 2009, so it was right when the recession pretty much hit. And by 2010, they were all working. And it seemed, for me at least, and my family and my friends here, that well past that date, we were still feeling the effects of it. You know,
Also explore how people use religion and work to create meaning in their lives. And a little quote from your story, but now with religion gone and labor gone, what's left? So how do you answer that question?
I definitely see how religion provides a great sense of community. And I think one of the reasons that the characters, at least in the book, and I feel kind of, you know, like disconnected and almost atomized, is this lack of community after leaving religion, because that community doesn't necessarily get replaced. So yeah, I mean, for me personally, I think that's still trying to find a way to have a meaningful personal and moral system in the absence of this framework of faith. And certainly I think work, and especially manufacturing work, industrial work, provides this great sense of camaraderie. I worked in a factory on and off for around 4 years when I was in college and afterwards. And yeah, I mean, obviously the work isn't very fun, but there is a great sense of community there too. So I think that not having, as what's presented in the book, not having either one of those makes the characters confront reality in a very, very raw way.
Another question that comes up around work is this idea of authentic work, that a lot of your characters are thinking about that. What does that mean to your characters, and what does that mean to you?
I think from like having so many years of, you know, working in industrial jobs and working in warehouses, to the idea of actually physically doing something where you can see what you're working on and actually making something, like actually creating something, there is something intrinsically valuable in that I at least have found is missing from other modes of work. And for me, I think one of the things I was trying to get across in the book is the idea of that kind of manual labor actually working with materials themselves, and under a materialist worldview lends this sheen of authenticity to the work that they do, and in so doing gives their lives meaning in the absence of religion.
One of the things that's really interesting about this book, You're in the Wrong Place, is that despite their difficult circumstances, very few characters seem to leave. A couple of them come back, perhaps even more damaged than when they left. What is it that keeps the characters here? What do they need, or what do they find here?
Like, I don't know what it is about the Detroit area. I just feel very, very comfortable here, I guess, even though it brings on so many uncomfortable situations, especially with how unstable the economy is. But I think the creation of this incredible community that persists during very, very hard times is something that's really hard to replicate. You know, it breeds this kind of sense of togetherness and this brutal honesty, and it's just really, really hard to find other places. So that's how I feel, and I think that I tried at least to bleed that into the characters, because I think for the most part they stay because of their families, or they stay for their friends, or they stay for their loved ones, or they stayed because they just want to. They don't want to just abandon the place like everyone else. has. They want to make it mean something to them.